about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go, let's be free with Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Jim here at GCU HQ. A warm welcome to our latest A-Level Economics Revision Blast. We've got 3 or 4 of these for the remainder of this summer term. Now, those of you who are film buffs will know the film The Sound of Music, which featured Christopher Plummer and Julie Andrews. And Julie Andrews in that film sang a song which started with the line, "Let's start at the beginning." A very good place to start. And therefore, we thought we'd go right back to the start of A-Level Economics, Introductory Economics Principles, for the subject of our live session today. And I wanted 2 people who really understood those principles in depth to present this session. So unfortunately, they can't be with us today. So we have got Geoff and Cathy to launch our first live session for quite a while, isn't it? So
It is.
Great to see you. Cathy, looking good with the green screen there. Either that, or you've built a wall behind your computer in the last month or so.
It's my green screen. It's looking good, isn't it? Looking good.
And Cathy's got the gamer's headphones. I'm insanely jealous, Cathy, of those.
Superb stuff. Well, perfectly set then for Introductory Economic Principles. Geoff, do you want to give us an intro and then we'll get straight into it? We've got about 30 minutes or so of activities.
Yeah, 25, 30 minutes in intensive stuff, loads of questions, multiple choice questions, bubble quizzes, beat the examiner, all this kind of stuff. Great stuff. As always, if you can type your answer in chat, we love the answers coming in chat for those people watching live. Of course, if you're playing catch up and watching it later, then press the pause button whenever you need to have a question. Cathy, are we good to go? Shall I start with the first activity?
I think we're good to go. Yeah, over to you.
Okay, here we go. Let's try something called the big reveal. Now, what we do here is we give you 5 clues and see if you can work out the name of the entrepreneur before all of the clues are revealed. Here's the first clue coming up on the laser display scoreboard here. His birth name, not his current name, was Jorgensen. Interesting. Now, if you get the chance, type in the name. His birth name, not his current name, was Jorgensen. It's not Jim Riley. No, that's not the correct answer. Let's try clue number 2. He was born in 1964, which is a year after I was born. This is quite interesting. Well, not very interesting, but he was born in 1964. Anybody coming through? We've got an Elon Musk coming through. Chris has Elon Musk. Here is the third clue. He has a degree in engineering. Born in 1964. Birth name Jorgensen. Now, we don't like people Googling or going to Wikipedia. We're looking for that natural raw talent in this group today. Alan Sugar, says Tom. We actually, that's interesting. Callum says James Dyson. By the way, I've just sold, funny you say that, Callum, I've literally just sold my vacuum cleaner this morning. Just sold it. Well, it was just gathering dust, Cathy. So time to go.
I've missed your jokes.
Yeah, here we go. Question for clue 4. He started his business by selling books from his garage. That could be Jim, couldn't it? Jim started to by doing that. Still does, actually. I think we've got some answers. Johnny Weems has come in with a good answer. Archie Newberry's coming with a great answer. And Will Steele thinks he's got a good answer. He's going into space in July. I think we've got the right answer. Let's reveal it. The correct answer is it's Jeff Bezos. Of course, Jeff there is misspelt, so please be careful that it says you always spell it correctly. Geoff. Jeff Bezos is indeed the answer. By the way, if Jeff Bezos got on a bus, everybody else on the bus would automatically, on average, become billionaires. Worth thinking about. Okay, here are 5 multiple choice questions. Have a go. As always, press the answer into chat if you want to have a go at these questions. These are all past paper questions, by the way, so a great chance to check and test your understanding. And here's the first question. What is the fundamental economic problem facing all economies? Tricky question, this one. What's the fundamental economic problem facing all economies? By the way, for these multiple choice questions, they all actually have the same answer. It's either A, B, C, or D. Sasha's gone for B, Millie's gone for B, Ben's gone for B, Johnny Weems has gone for C. Let's see what the right answer is. It is indeed B, correct, to decide what, how, and for whom to produce. Interesting, the C option, of course, it's almost impossible to eliminate income inequalities, but there's more of a value judgment built in there. I think the key word in that question is fundamental problem facing all countries. So B is the best answer there. Here is our second question. Which of these statements contains a value judgment? Great question, this one. Love this one. What do we think for question 2, everybody? Which of these statements contains a value judgment? And you have 4 statements there. A value judgment, of course, would be built into a normative economic statement. Archie reckons D. Alice is keen on D. Beth says D, and so does Chris. Charlie Bacon says D. That sounds like a really crisp answer, Charlie. Let's go for the answer, Jim. It is indeed. It's D. There's a clear value judgment there, clear opinion. The government's wrong to spend more on healthcare. Question 3 coming up. Oh, this is a tricky one. Which of these is the best definition of scarcity? Which of these is the best definition of scarcity? Just quickly as you do this question, Callum's asking, well, what's a value judgment? Thanks for the question, Callum. It's basically a statement which involves an opinionated view in some way, a subjective argument. Hope that makes sense. Which of these is the best definition of scarcity? There's some plausible answers here. A couple of people have gone for D. Chris has gone for D. Charlie D. But Alice and Sasha have gone for C along with Beth. Well, let's have a look. A bit of a difference of opinion here. The right answer is C. Yep. Unlimited wants and needs combined with limited resources is the best definition. I think D, well, that's really opportunity cost, isn't it? It's the cost of a choice in terms of the next best alternative sacrificed. And then let's have a look at the next question. Again, this few words here, a few vowels. Which of these is the best definition of a production possibility frontier. So take a moment, have a read through. So you have there 4 definitions of a production possibility frontier. Some of them are correct, but which is the best definition? Production possibility, of course, a key concept. Lots of multiple choice questions have PPF diagrams. Tom's gone for C, Sasha's gone for A along with Ben. Ben's gone for A. Callum's gone for A. And Johnny has actually typed A twice. He's so confident. Charlie has typed A 4 times. He is so confident. Well, let's have the answer, Jim. The correct answer is A. It is indeed. The various combinations of output and economy is capable of producing with its limited resources. B, will produce. No, that's will produce is obviously driven by demand as opposed to can produce or capable of producing. Do we have one more multiple choice question? I think we might do. Here we go. Which one of these factors? Thanks, Cathy. Thanks for letting me know about that. Oh yeah, this is a tricky one. Which one of these factors is essential for specialization and the division of labor to be effective in an economy? So specialization, of course, breaking down the tasks of production, specializing in certain things. Division of labor. By the way, Cathy, I don't know if you know, I'm moving into hairdressing during the summer. Did you know that?
I didn't, and I'm sort of slightly speechless at the joke that's coming. But anyway, carry on, Geoff.
Well, I've actually got my Jamaican hairdressing practical exam tomorrow. I'm actually quite worried about it. I'm dreading it, in fact. So which one of these factors is essential for specialization and division of labor? Let's put the answers. Olivia's gone for B. Chris has gone for B. A couple of people have gone for D, actually. Let's have a look at the answer. It's B. You need a medium of exchange. You need to be able to use something to finance transactions. Big debate at the moment, of course, about the role of cryptocurrencies, whether there will be ever an acceptable, efficient medium of exchange. Well done on those. I think some of you got 4 or 5 out of 5, which is terrific. I'll hand over to Cathy for the next exercise.
Excellent. Just on your last slide there, the last multiple choice question, certainly the board I teach, that is such a common multiple choice question, such a common one that people often get wrong, and you just thrown a mark away that you didn't need to. So
if they keep getting
Jim,
Cathy, if they keep getting it wrong, that's why they keep asking the same questions, isn't it? Until people get it right.
I guess. Thank you, Jim. If I could have my side. Now, is this a new activity? I don't think I've seen this one before. Beat the teacher. And this one's all about the economic problem. So what you've got to do here, the teacher has put up some deliberate mistakes, or that's what they're claiming, on the next slide. And your task is to try and spot all of them. So what I think we'll do is we'll take this sort of paragraph at a time. So if you want to have a look at the first couple of sentences there and add to the chat anything you think is incorrect on here. So just give you a couple of moments to do that. Just add to the chat anything that you think is an error. I'll give you a clue. There is an error in the first sentence there. I can see Geoff having a debate with people about medium of exchange. Anyone want to add to the chat any errors they can see in the first sentence? And then move on to the second sentence as well, where there is an error in that as well. So might just be me. I can see lots of chat on the chat, but nothing about this task. Excellent. So somebody has added something. People are saying there's a problem with the word needs there. Yes, you are absolutely right. Can anyone see anything wrong in the second sentence in that first paragraph? To help solve this problem, the primary objective of economics is to decide ways of eradicating inequality. Is that right or wrong? So lots of people have spotted problems in some of this. Let's move on to the next paragraph then and have a look at what you think might be wrong here. So I'll give you a bit of a clue. Have a look at the second line and see if you can see a problem there. And there is a problem with the final sentence as well. So still got people commenting on the limited needs. Can you see anything wrong with the middle paragraph now? Someone's asking whether gold is an example of land. So feel free if you want to add a comment on that to the chat. Is gold an example of land? And then let's have a final look at the last paragraph there. So can you see any deliberate errors in that one? So on the middle paragraph now, people are questioning whether stocks and shares are examples of capital. And there's a debate going on over whether gold is an example of land. So lovely to see you interacting with one another. That's the beauty of these live sessions, that you can do that. Sasha commented earlier saying stocks aren't an example of capital. So anyone want to add any comments on the last paragraph before we have a look at the errors and then we correct them? Just give you a couple of seconds more. Oh, someone's saying when it says businesses, it should be firms. And someone's saying economists are not economic agents. Oh, really good comments on here. Jim, could you show us the slide now, please, that highlights where the errors are? So I think lots of you got these really, really well done. So the economic problem is one of unlimited wants but limited needs. That, of course, is incorrect, and we'll see the correct answer in a minute. In red again, ways of eradicating inequality. That too is wrong. So we might want to reduce inequality, but most people would think you don't want to eradicate it altogether. In the middle paragraph, lots of people have picked up that stocks and shares are not examples of capital, and that's something that you need to be really, really careful of. So in general language, people might well refer to them in that way, but for us as economists, that's not correct. I didn't see, it's possible I missed it, I didn't see if anyone spotted about whether the reward for capital is rent. And of course, we had a comment about economists in the final paragraph. So I believe, Jim, you've got a slide for us now where these are corrected. This is in blue. So the economic problem is one of unlimited wants but limited resources. And this links right back to this concept of scarcity that Geoff was talking about earlier. This is sometimes called the fundamental economic problem, and certainly some of the students I teach, they learn about this right at the beginning and then they forget about it, rather than realizing that this goes all the way through the course. It's called the economic fundamental problem because it matters so much in everything we're talking about. And the primary objective of economics is to decide what, how, and for whom to produce. going on to the middle paragraph then, a really good example of capital is machinery. It won't be the only one, but it's a really good example then. And rent is the reward for land. And as many of you correctly spotted in the final paragraph, economists are not economic agents. So we might think we are super important, but we are not economic agents. Okay, Jim, I've got some bubble quiz questions coming up next, please. So, oh, Geoff, are you trying to say something? I can hear
No,
you.
I love bubble quizzes, so I'm going to have a go at these ones. I actually don't know the answers. I think bubble quizzes should be part of the exam.
I think so too. I think multiple choice would be much more interesting if it took the form of bubble quizzes. So I'm sure you've done these before, but for anyone that hasn't, the way this works is there's a question, there are some possible answers, and you've got to decide which of these answers are correct. But unlike normal multiple choice, there might be more than one correct answer. So it's possible all of them are right, or a couple of them, or none of them. So what I'd like you to do is to put on the chat, please, the letters that you think go with the correct answer. So the first one, which of these are examples of positive economic statement? So type the letters that you think are correct, please, on the chat. So someone's asking about positive statements, what that means. So let's ask the chat, actually. Can someone just put on the chat for me now what you think the definition of a positive economic statement is? And I'm not asking because I don't know, I do know. I'd just like to know how many of you know. Oh, there's a lovely definition here. Someone's saying a fact-based statement. Yes, a positive statement is one that you can test against the available evidence. And someone, Sasha again, saying it's something that can be proved. So hopefully whoever asks the definition of that helps. So give you just a couple of seconds more to enter your answers on the chat. And Jim, could you reveal the answers then to this question, please? And the positive economic statements here are C and D. So the others, A and B, these are examples of normative economic statements. As Geoff was saying earlier, these are opinions. Just one more question on the chat. Can a positive economic statement be wrong? So really interested to see what people have to say about that. Can positive economic statements be wrong? So we've got some people on the chat today that obviously know their economics really well. So let's see what people have to say about that. Someone's saying, Alice is saying yes. And that again, more yeses coming in, yeses pouring in. Now, again, that's something that students often get wrong. They think a positive economic statement has to be correct, and it doesn't. It just has to be testable. So that's something that's really important to remember. Jim, can we have the next question, please? So here we've got an example of a production possibility frontier. So Geoff was talking about these earlier. Now, which of the following combinations of output are possible? So again, it might be none of these, all of them, some numbers in between. So if you can add to the chat, please, the letters that you think are correct. So I've got A, B, C, coming in. I'm just glancing down the chat. I'm not immediately seeing anyone saying anything else. Seems to be absolute consensus on this. So, Jim, are people right? And of course they are. Now, the mistake people often make, they're very used to seeing things on the boundaries to B and C, but of course, A is a perfectly possible combination. It's a combination where you've got some unemployed resources. You're not using all of your factors of production as efficiently as you can. Okay, Jim, I think I've got another one of these coming up. So again, Geoff talked about specialization earlier. Which of these are benefits of specialization? So same thing again, if you could just please add onto the chat which you think are the correct answers here. Let's see if we get the same level of agreement. Just give you a moment to see what is coming up. So even if you don't know all the correct answers, try and put even one if you think it's correct. So I can see A, B, and C coming up. Somebody else thinks A, B, C, D. I've got B, C, D, A, C, and D. So a real variety this time, quite different to the previous one where everybody was agreed on that. Okay, all right, Jim, shall we see? Because we've got such a difference of opinion. Right, we've got the A, B, and C are all benefits of specialization. So it definitely increases the variety of products that are out there. And it definitely reduces production costs. It can lead to an improvement in quality because people just get much more skilled at what they're doing. Now, if they get bored with the same job, that's when you can get the opposite effect going on there. And D is incorrect. Of course, actually, your training costs are likely to go down because you are training workers to do a much narrower selection of tasks. Now, I believe I've got one final bubble quiz. Am I right? I am.
Yep. Last bubble question.
Thing.
And this is a great question, Cathy. Here we go.
It's a fab question, this one. A free good is a good with zero opportunity cost. Which of these are examples of free goods? So is it A, and or B, and or C, and or D? Let's have these answers on the chat, please. A free good is a good with zero opportunity cost. Geoff's just giving you a little bit more explanation on the chat. I've got A and C coming up. A, John is saying A, B, and C. So just give you a couple of seconds more to see what everybody else is thinking. A and C. So again, we've got quite a lot of disagreement going on, differences of opinion. Right, Jim, do you want to give us the answers to this one? And it is A, B, and C. Now, I'm really pleased to see that nobody I've spotted on the chat thought it was D. So just because a good is free, you are not charging a price for it, does not mean it is a free good in economic terms. So the key thing to think about is there an opportunity cost involved in the consumption of this good? Right, this is another very common multiple choice question that people often get wrong. Geoff, I believe it's back to you now for your activity on the economic spectrum.
Okay, Cathy, thank you. Here we go. Here are 6 countries: China, France, North Korea, Singapore, the UK, USA. Wow, that'd be a fantastic qualifying group, wouldn't it, for some competition? Now, you've got 6 countries here, and we have a spectrum of competition on the left-hand side, the pure command economy, communist system, state-driven economy, then the mixed economy in the middle, and the free market economic system on the right-hand side. Now, this question draws on data from the Index of Economic Freedom, and what we're looking for is a list of 6 letters. Can you get the right order for where these countries appear on the economic spectrum? There is actually a unique answer involving 6 letters based on the rankings published each year by the Index of Economic Freedom. So just match the flag to the number. Which country in the world is closest to being a pure command economy? Which is next closest? Which country would be mixed economies, but which is more tilting towards command compared to the private sector? And which country in the world do you think is closest to being a free market economy? Well, Deck's already come in. He says it's CAD-BEF. Archie's gone for CAD-BEF. Quite a few have gone for CAD-BEF. According to the Institute, or the producers, the Heritage Foundation, which produces the Index of Economic Freedom. What do we think? Alice has gone for CAD-BEF. Has anybody else? This looks like groupthink to me, herd mentality kicking in. Has anybody else got a different answer? Because it's not the correct answer in terms of the latest rankings. So I think we can agree that North Korea is coming in the left-hand side, and most people are agreeing that Singapore is on the right-hand side. So what lies in the middle? Just give you another 5 or 10 seconds here. What do we think? Phil's gone for CAB-EFD, which is quite interesting. That's pretty close to the right answer, but not quite the right answer. We were looking for the following. Hey, Jim. Jim's going to produce it now on the screen. Here we go. That's with CAB-FED. France actually is quite interesting. France is closer to being a command economy. It's not. It's a mixed economy, but it has a much higher level of state ownership, nationalisation, obviously higher taxes, a higher tax burden. The UK is actually ranked as a more free market economy than the United States. Singapore is a free market economy in theory, but as Ha-Joon Chang has said, there is no such thing as a free market economy because every country has regulations, laws, and things. It's just an idea, really, in economics. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next activity. Cathy, I think we got a matching exercise. Here we go.
You have, yes. This is my last activity here. So, Jim, if you can put the activity up for us, please. What we've got are some terms on the left, and we've got some definitions on the right, and these have been muddled up. So you've got 60 seconds to match the correct letter on the left with the number that it goes with on the right. So if you could set us going, Jim, and if people would like to add their answers to the chat as they go through, that would be wonderful. And you can see you've got a clock as well to let you know how much time's there. And there we are, time's up, and I can see that Geoff has set the challenge, who can get all of these right in 60 seconds. So I can see some answers coming up. I can see that some people have managed to get 5 answers up there. Are they the right ones? Jim, would you like to reveal the correct answer so you can just check these against yours? So A goes with 4. Opportunity costs them. So the opportunity cost of something is the next best alternative foregone. It's a really important concept and a really important definition to know. Next one then, allocative efficiency. So depending on your board, depending on how it's taught, I've only just done allocative efficiency in detail with my year 12s today, in fact. So allocative efficiency, it's all about producing the things that people most want. So it's when the value that consumers place on a good or service equals the cost of the resources that are used to produce it. See then, perhaps one of the easier ones on here, productive potential. This went with definition 2. So this is the amount of output an economy could produce if all of its resources were used fully and efficiently. So the PPF boundary shows you the productive potential of an economy. D, trade off. This is when you need to make choices. So D goes with 1. I can see again just that Millie got that one right, and so did Archie. I'm just quickly scanning up the chat. And the last one on here, now again, it depends on your board whether or not you have come across this. Pareto efficiency. Whether or not it's on the specification, it isn't for the spec I teach, but a truly useful concept. So you are being Pareto efficient if the only way you can make somebody better off is to make somebody else worse off. So if you are on the boundary of the PPF, that is a really good example of where you are being Pareto efficient. If I wanted to give somebody else some more, I'd have to take something off somebody else. Really, really well done if you got all of these correct. I'm going to hand back to Geoff now. This is the final activity.
Well, Cathy, before you do that, are you willing to have a go with Jim on this one? Or should we play the higher lower game with take on the live students in the audience?
I'm pretty
today?
sure I'm going to get this wrong because these are tricky. But yes, of course, I'm willing to give it a go.
Okay.
I'm up for that. Let's bring it on. Bring it on.
Okay, here we go. So let's finish with a high or low activity. We love this. Again, I think this should be on the exam, honestly.
I think so.
So how long before we run out of these scarce resources, if we continue to use them at the current rate, okay, assuming no other deposits are found? So our starting point is oil, crude oil, and the current projection is 31 years. Ooh. Okay, here's the first one, coal. Will coal run out before 31 years or after 31 years? Everybody type your answer either higher or lower in the chat window. What do we think?
Oh my goodness. I think this is quite hard because I think there's huge differences in coal usage around the world. I don't know what coal reserves are like. I'm going to guess at higher. But
yeah, I agree with higher. I think we're burning less coal, aren't we? Apart from in China. So I think probably higher. It's got to be higher. Hopefully higher.
China's a big place, is what I was thinking.
Okay,
China's
well, Zav,
a big place.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with higher.
Higher, yeah.
Zav, Felix, Andrew, Johnny, Hector have gone for higher. A few people have gone lower, actually. Beth thinks before, a bit lower. Olivia thinks lower. Well, let's look at the answer. And the answer is 39 years.
We were just right.
Higher. Not much higher. Phosphorus. Phosphorus.
My goodness.
Again, if you're playing along here with us, type in your answer into the chat window. We love taking you all on.
Phosphorus.
If we continue to use phosphorus at the current rate, will it run out before or after coal? higher or lower or higher than coal? What do we think? Millie's gone lower.
This is going to be an absolute guess from me. I have to say I know nothing about world stocks of phosphorus, and I don't know a great deal about what it's used for either. Is it in fertilizer and stuff like that?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Actually, if it's used in fertilizer, this idea is growing on me. But what do we think? 39, lower or higher than 39?
I'll go higher, but that's a complete guess for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go higher. I've not heard talk about running out of phosphorus in the way that we have about other things.
That's a good point. I get phosphorus monthly, and they've never mentioned it. So,
right, let's go with higher then.
Okay, let's have a look at the answer. And the answer
is
wow. In other words, I'll be gone well before phosphorus. Okay, the next one is, we've got two more to finish with. Here we go, natural gas. Ooh, what do we think on the team chat? What do we think? Natural gas. Will it run out before phosphorus 100 years or after? What do we think? Cathy, over to you.
I'm going to go lower with that one. I think lower.
Yeah, it's got to be lower than 100 years, isn't it? It's presumably it's going to be similar to oil, I guess. Maybe a bit longer than oil, but I guess.
Okay, well, Millie's gone lower. Alice has gone lower, to agree. Archie says lower as well, but Wendy says higher, and who else says? Johnny says higher. Callum says higher. What do we think? Here's the answer, Jim. Oh, 39. Wow.
Hooray.
That's not long at all, is it, really?
So the same as coal, that's a useful thing to remember, actually, isn't it? That oil, coal and natural gas have got very similar figures on here.
Yeah, I think this data is based on existing known
current
deposits,
usage, yeah,
as well as current usage. So they may well discover some more natural gas.
Yeah.
Certainly plenty of hot air when I deliver my online teachings. They might be able to use that as well. Now, the last one is neodymium, which I think is a rare earth. It's used in the production, to give you a clue, this is used in the production of mobile phones and iPads and that kind of stuff. I think most of the deposits.
It's a rare earth mineral, isn't it?
So what do we think, everybody?
I think this is where there's just been new discoveries of this, haven't there? I'm right, aren't I? Greenland, there's been something about whether, because it's a really nasty thing to extract this, if I remembered that correctly. I think they've just discovered a load of new stuff, but it's used in so many high tech.
90% of rare earths apparently are currently in China, but they will find them elsewhere, presumably if the price goes high enough. What do we think, Jim?
Well, if you're saying it's used in all those devices, presumably demand is significantly increasing. I'll go lower than 39.
I'm going to say lower, but I do think people can check me on this. I'm sure there's been a recent big discovery of this.
Well, Sasha, Millie, and Andrew and Beth have all gone higher. They're contrarian. Are they right? Here's the answer.
Happy days. Thank you very much.
20 years.
5 out of 5.
Yes.
Thank you.
There we go. 20 years. So we need to discover some more rare earths.
Yeah, we do. We do.
There we go. Well done, everybody, on that final activity.
Great stuff. Great activity. And we've just run a couple of minutes over there. But for those of you who've joined us for economic sessions before, you'll know that's not a rare event.
I know. This is really good by our standards to only be 10 minutes over, isn't it?
It is. And we've packed a lot in as well as the bants on that final activity. Superb stuff. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that session, found it useful. If you did, as always, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Please don't give us the thumbs down, because that crashes YouTube and the internet falls over, and that's the last thing we want as we enter the summer of sport. And if you check out tutorstu.net/live, we have just added the 3 other live sessions that Cathy and Geoff and John and Isabel and Penny and the team are going to be running over the next few weeks. Hopefully something of interest in there for you. You can go back to the replay section as well if you want to replay this session, which you probably will want to, as well as any of the other 34 sessions that we've done in the last term and a half.
Whoa, that's a lot.
There's a lot, and more to come. Superb stuff.
Excellent.
Huge thanks to Geoff and Cathy for taking some time out from their marking and teaching and all kinds of other things they do at this time of term. And hopefully we'll catch you all at the next live session. So for now, from all of us, thanks very much.
you.
Cheers,
Bye.
everybody. Take care.